Alrighty, everybody, we're going to talk about the Microsoft Recall feature today. It's the feature that you may have heard a little bit about, and security and privacy experts and advocates are pushing back on Microsoft to make some changes. So, the Recall is a Microsoft feature that acts like someone with a photographic memory, takes constant screenshots probably every 5 seconds. It documents this information on the NPU on the local system. This feature is available on Copilot+PCs that use the Snapdragon X ARM processors. The information is stored for about 3 months. This feature is arriving June 18th. There was major pushback from security and privacy advocates and researchers. Microsoft reevaluated and is offering concessions and changes. Some of those changes include users will have to opt in to use the feature. This means they have to specifically go in settings and activate the feature. Microsoft is requiring users are enrolled in the Windows Hello biometric scanning, enhanced sign-in security, encrypting the search index database. They're also requiring proof of presence to view the timeline. One discussion point that was not addressed is how corporations will be affected by this feature. Copilot+PCs are the fastest, most intelligent Windows PCs ever built, according to Microsoft, with powerful new silicon capable of an incredible 40 plus TOPS, which is trillion operations per second, all-day battery life, and access to the most advanced AI models. Copilot+PCs will enable you to do things you can't do on any other PC. Easily find and remember what you have seen in your PC with Recall, which is the feature we're talking about today. Generate and refine AI images in near real time directly on the device using Co-Creator. And bridge language barriers with live captions, translating audio from 40 plus languages into English. The Hello Enhanced Sign-In enables the user to authenticate using their biometrics or a PIN, eliminating the need for a password. So biometric authentication uses facial recognition or fingerprint sensing to prove a user's identity in a way that is secure, personal, and convenient. Enhanced sign-in security provides an additional level of security to biometric data by leveraging specialized hardware and software components such as virtualization-based security and Trusted Platform Module 2.0 to isolate and protect the user's authentication data and secure the channel by which that data is communicated. An NPU is a neural processing unit. It is known as an AI processor or a deep learning processor as well. Okay, these are a class of specialized hardware accelerator or computer systems designed to accelerate artificial intelligence and machine learning applications, including artificial neural networks and machine vision. Typically, applications include algorithms for robotics, Internet of Things, and other data-intensive or sensor-driven tasks. This is according to Wikipedia. Proof of presence. Authentication intent is the process of demonstrating that an individual intended to authenticate. Establishing authentication intent, like entering an OTP from a device, inserting a smart card, or simply touching the device, is basically known as proof of presence, can act as a countermeasure against malware, using the endpoint as a proxy for authenticating an attacker without the user's knowledge. This makes it more difficult for the authenticator to be used for nefarious purposes outside the control of the legitimate user. All right, so in a couple of my other discussions, we talked about the MITRE attack site. And so we're going to, after reading this feature and about the pushback from researchers and advocates, I thought I would review the MITRE attack framework and find some tactics and techniques that could potentially be associated with this feature. Note, this does not include the overall concerns about Microsoft itself having access to the information in the screenshots, just what may be discussion points about someone else getting hold of the information. So techniques represent the how of an attack. The tactic is what it's the higher level goal of the attack. So some of these techniques include data from local system. That is technique 1005 and is part of the collection tactic. It's about adversaries exploiting recall to capture sensitive data stored locally on the system. Technique T1113, which is 1113, is screen capture, and it is still also under the tactic of collection. And since recall takes screenshots, adversaries could leverage this feature to capture sensitive information displayed on the screen. And then we also have technique 1056. Falls under the tactic of collection and credential access. And again, this is if recall captures input data, adversaries might use it to gather keystrokes or other input data. And I didn't give you the name of T1056. It's called input capture. Exfiltration over alternative protocol, T1048. The tactic is exfiltration. And again, adversaries might use recall to exfiltrate captured screenshots and data using non-standard protocols. And then another technique is credential dumping, and this is under the tactic of credential access. If recall captures credentials displayed on the screen, adversaries could use this information to dump and exploit credentials. I'm not saying these are the only tactics and techniques. These are some that I pulled up after looking. The MITRE attack framework site is very good. You should look at it once in a while when you're trying to figure out how bad guys did certain things. And when you're looking at designing things, it's not a bad site to look at either. So how do you prevent some of this stuff in your organization or even at home? So prevention involves awareness training. Train your staff on how recall works, the benefits and the disadvantages and risks of using recall. Focus on access control, least privilege, including for services and from services, not just about people. Ensure data encryption at rest, in transit, and in use. Think about monitoring and logging, and try to use anomaly detection to see if you see any weird patterns that might indicate that someone's taking advantage of this new feature. Endpoint protection, patch, upgrade, security patches, anything that you can do that requires fixing something, you should investigate and do as advised. Data loss prevention, policies to protect data from unauthorized use and unauthorized sharing, including outside the company. These are things that you should consider that will help reduce and mitigate risk. Some more are incident response. When you're working on your incident response plans, include procedures for handling misuse of recall. Consider tabletop exercises, simulations, etc. Think about privacy controls. Implement privacy controls to ensure that sensitive information captured by recall is handled in compliance with data protection regulations and according to every rule that you have, and governmental and organizational. What's the conclusion of this? So these features could be beneficial for managing and retrieving information. Everybody wants something that's easy to use. Everybody wants something that helps them when they have a crisis and they need to find something. And everyone loves to search for things that they need to find. Microsoft probably should have done a better job vetting the feature and considering privacy and user concerns before trying to roll it out. If this feature is used, strict compliance and data protection regulations and concerns have to be considered by any user or company. Saying that something will be stored locally and thinking that will reduce everyone's fears is not reasonable. Anything that's local can be, if it's on the network or a network, if it's on the internet, even if it's stored locally, there's still a chance that it can get released out into the wild, so to speak. It really would help any organization have a compliance and ethics review before rolling out features, as well as whether you create it or you use it, especially if you sell it. And you definitely don't want to just throw something at your customers without really trying to think through all the possible scenarios. It wouldn't help to have compliance and ethics review and or employees that will help you with that. And the credits go to Microsoft, of course, Wikipedia. I went to quite a few support sites on Microsoft to learn about the enhanced sign-in security, to learn about the neural processing units, and to learn about Copilot+PCs. I went to Hacker News and Bleeping Computer for their original articles about this because those are my favorite sites and they do a great job. Well, that's it today about Microsoft Recall feature. And if you're like me and you recognize some similarities between the actual recall feature and Total Recall, you get an extra bonus point today. And I think I might actually watch the original or maybe the version with Colin Farrell today. Thank you. Bye-bye.